me on board. And I would say thank you to Damilola and Nicholas for having me on board. So, without wasting much of your time, we'll be talking about financial intelligence. And the idea behind this session is to teach or guide you. So don't let me use the word teach. I don't want to be a teacher for today. Is to guide you and just show you insights on how you can get better financially. So the whole idea is that at the end of this session, you would have more insight on to how to get better in your money game. Because I believe money is a game. Your finances is a game. So how well you play the money game would determine how how confident you are in your finances. And if there's no greater urgency for you to be financially intelligent, if there's no greater urgency for you to um, get better at your money game, the current economic reality of for Nigeria at the moment is should push you, or will I say ginger you to get better financially. So even if you don't have any reason to be better financially, the fact that things are becoming more challenging for Nigeria as a country and for individuals, there should be that urgency for you to get better financially. So would be when I talk about financial intelligence and personal finance, I always like to talk from the beginning where it all starts, because I believe that I'm talking to different audience and different personalities. So so it's not like a personalized session whereby, okay, I know where you are in your finances. So I'm just going to carry everybody like we are all the same, like carry everybody as one inside one WhatsApp group, if I'm to use that word. So everything begins with your income. Everything begins with your income, because you can't get better financially if you have no source of income. So that's where it all begins. And I know it's not something that it's something that you're already used to make money, find what to do to get better. But I would be bringing it from different aspects, from a different dimension that it should. So there are basically two ways for any individual to earn an income. There are two major ways. It's either through your through paid employment, that's been a salary earner, or through a business. So either even if you're a freelancer, you're offering your skills, you're offering your services for a paycheck, for an income. So that's something that's really important. So wherever you are in your income journey, you should see how you can scale it up. See how you can scale it up. And here's a rule of thumb to help guide you on how to scale your income very well. Here's a rule of thumb. Look at how much you spend every month in terms of your expenses. So I'm going to make it a bit more practical. Think of how much you spend on a monthly basis is in terms of your expense. What do you spend averagely in a month currently? Do you spend 50,000 naira on average in a month? Do you spend 100,000 on average in a month? Do you spend more than 100,000 on average in a month? So you fall within those categories: 50,000, 100,000, or more than 100,000. So because understanding how you track your expenses would guide you on how to scale up your income. I'll come again. Understanding how you track your expenses would guide you on how you should scale up your income, in the sense that if, for example, if you spend 100,000 naira every month in terms of your expenses is what you spend money on to ensure that you are still living, or you are still alive. I have to use that word. What you spend money on to ensure you are still alive, in terms of your feeding, transportation, because no matter what, you need to move. Even if you're a remote worker, you still need to move. You still need to buy things. You still need to go somewhere. So transportation is important. Your rent, your utilities, household expenses, and the like. So whether you are staying with your parents, you are still in school, staying in hostel, or you are independent, you stay alone, one or the other, you would need to have those form of expenses. So it's something that's really, really important. Have an idea how much you spend every month. It will give. So, like I said, if for example you spend maybe 100,000 naira every month, at the barest minimum, you should be making 100,000 naira every month. Why I said barest minimum is that if you spend 100,000 every month and you make 100,000 every month, at the barest minimum, it means you are not in debt. You are not owing anybody. Because if you are not owing anybody, it's you have peace of mind. Let me put that word. If you are not owing anybody, at least you have a level of peace of mind. Having debt is an uncomfortable situation to be in. Are we still following? Are we following, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we're following.
Okay. So having debt is an uncomfortable situation to be in. And I would also talk about that. So how to manage debt is an uncomfortable situation to be in because it makes things more difficult for you. It makes things more difficult for you. So if at the first minimum you spend 100,000 naira monthly in terms of your expenses, at least you should be making 100,000 naira. So with that, it shows that you are not owing anybody. Your income is matching your expense. But it would get to a stage that you need to scale up your income. You need to scale up your income because the current Nigerian realities, the current Nigerian reality of how we are now is that price of things tend to go up, if I say anyhow, if I'm to use that word, price of, and I believe we are all Nigerians here. Or is there anybody here that is not a Nigerian or that is not living in Nigeria? Because Nicholas is a Nigerian, but he's no more in Nigeria. So I believe everybody here is living in Nigeria, right? So at least what I'm saying is not gibberish. Is there anybody here that is not living in Nigeria? Just to confirm.
No, sir.
Okay, so good. So since everybody here is living in Nigeria, we understand the current situation in terms of how price of things tends to go up just anyhow. So my point is that you should ensure that what the amount you spend every month, your income is able to match it. That is the barest minimum. Because if your income is less than what your expense is, than what you spend money on, you're already living in minus, you're already living in debt. It means you need to borrow to keep up. And that's not a comfortable situation to be in. So at the barest minimum, what you spend money on should match what you earn. Should match what you earn. And I'll talk about how to track your expenses. So expenses can be divided into two: recurring expenses and non-recurring expenses. You can write that down. Your expenses are divided into two. There are only two forms of expense: recurring expenses and non-recurring expenses. Now, recurring expenses are expenses that happens consistently, that you need to spend money on them every month. Whether you make money, whether you don't make money, whether they sack you, whether you lose customers, you must spend those money every month. And that's why I started this conversation by talking about expenses, because your expenses would give you an idea of where the, let's say, cutoff mark for your income should be. Because if you just talk about income alone and you don't have an idea of what your expense is, it might not reflect the true reality of what things are. Because you say that, okay, I spend 100K, I make 100K every month. That can sound decent for an average Nigerian. But when you now look at your expense, there's likelihood that it might rise more than that. So that's why I started the conversation by look at your expense. Your expense will give you an idea of how you live your life and also what your income should look like on the barest minimum. So recurring expenses and non-recurring expenses. Recurring expenses are expenses that you need to incur, you need to spend on a month-to-month basis, no matter what happens. Does anybody have an idea of what recurring expenses is? Or some examples of recurring expenses? So this session is going to be a bit interactive, so I'm going to be asking questions. Can anybody a guess or idea? What do you think are some examples of recurring expenses? If we should talk, if not talk, I'll leave you.
Unmute your mic and talk. Unmute your mic and answer the question.
If you don't talk, I'll just tell them.
Jacob, you can unmute.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think feeding is an example of recurring expense.
What do you say, Jacob?
I said I think feeding is an example of recurring expense.
Yes, you are right, feeding. Because no matter what happens, you need to eat. You must eat. I believe everybody has eaten today, except if you are fasting. Everybody must have eaten today. So whether you are broke or not, you must eat. Whether you make money or not, you must eat. So eating or feeding, rather, as she said, is a recurring expense. Does anybody have an idea of another one? Another recurring expense? Use yourself as an example. What are the things that you spend money on every month? Like consistently, you spent that amount, or you spent money on those things last month. You are spending on it this month. Next month, you're likely to spend money on it. Anybody else?
Data subscription.
Okay, data subscription, your internet is recurring expenses. Another person, final person. Is there no guy in this? Is there no male here? Only female bosses are here, in sense.
Okay, Daniel says transportation. He actually
transportation.
said it, yes, in the chat.
Okay, thank you. So those are examples of what recurring expenses are: transportation, internet subscription, feeding. So now give yourself, do a, let's say, analysis check on yourself. Find out how much you spend on feeding in a month, how much you spend on transportation, how much you spend on internet. All those things that you spend money on consistently, how much do you spend on them? Your rent, for those who are living alone, your rent should be part of recurring expenses. And let me just digress a bit. Let me just give you a perfect example or a perfect idea of how to pay your rent easily. Not many people know this, but it's a lifesaver and it will help you plan for your rent adequately. Find out how much, not like find out, you already know. So how much you spend on your rent. The rent is annually, right? So you pay it once a year. So how much is your rent? Let's say your rent is 500,000 now, for example, 500,000. You would agree with me that if you had to just pay that 500,000 at once, it might look like a challenge. But when you divide 500,000 divided by 12, that is how much? Because you have 12 months in a year. So 500,000 divided by 12 is how much? Nobody else. 500,000 divided by 12 is how much? All the mathematicians in the group have gone to sleep. Like I said, it's going to be interactive, so I'm not teaching. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. So please answer on time. So 500,000 divided by 12 is how much?
Okay, 500,000 divided by 12 is 41,666.6.
Okay, 41,000. So let's just say 45,000. Is that not supposed to be okay? Okay, let's just say 45,000. So it means that every month your rent is 45,000 now. So a better way to pay your rent is every month, that 45,000 now, you should be saving it. So you put it in a different bank account or maybe a fintech app that you use to save money. So every month, this month, you move 45,000, keep it. Next month, 45,000. By the time you do it for 12 months, you've been able to raise your rent. So it's easier for you to plan for your rent than just waiting for 1 month to go or 2 months to go. You now start looking for where will I get 500,000 naira from. But if you are doing it month by month, before you know it, you've already saved 400,000 out of nowhere. So that's a better way to pay your rent. So in terms of recurring expense, your rent should be part of it. So if you use this principle, your rent should be part of it. So you're allocating for your rent every month. You're allocating for your rent every month. So non-recurring expense are those expenses that it doesn't happen every month. You spend money on them, but it's not very frequent. Can someone give me an example? It might not come every month. So at times, maybe just once in 3 months or once in 6 months or something. Can someone give me an example?
Maybe a purchase of equipment also.
Purchase of equipment like what? I'm talking about not for your business, so I'm talking about
Business
you as
equipment. Yes,
No, I'm not talking
business
about for your business. No, you are saying business equipment. I'm not talking about for business. I'm saying for you as an individual. Okay, Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah, like your wardrobe expense is not a recurring expense. It can be once in 3
Okay,
months, once in
wardrobe
2 months.
Yes, that's your clothes. So you would agree with me that except if you're a wasteful spender, you don't buy clothes every month. No. So clothes is a non-recurring expense. Anybody else?
Medical expenses. Medical expenses.
I don't know. Okay, medical expense is there, but I think that should be under. So we can allocate it under recurring expense in the sense that if you have HMO or insurance, so that can fall under it because you can't medical something is health, so anything can happen. We don't pray for bad health or maybe accident or maybe sickness or something, but anything can happen and you might. So for some people, medical expenses can be non-recurring. They don't spend money on health-related challenge every month, but just be on the safer side. It's best you allocate something for it just in case of emergency. So that it's not when you have health challenge and you have like, I want to pay hospital bill. I'm looking for 200,000 here. So it's either you have an HMO or it's form of health insurance or something. So that's, but I believe this just to give you an idea of what these are. So for your recurring expenses and for non-recurring expenses. Now for your recurring expenses that we've talked about, find out or calculate how much it is on an average. It could be more, it could be less, but on an average, how much do you spend every month? So if your recurring expense, so it's good, it should be a practical thing. You don't need to submit to me, but it's something you should do for yourself. So if you don't do this for yourself, you are shortchanging yourself and you are not going to learn, because this is what financial intelligence is all about. How to plan for your finances very well, how to account for everything that happens to you financially, how to account for what you spend money on, how to account for what comes in. And people don't really do things like that, like this, and that's why they find it challenging to with their finances. But when you itemize everything, you get to know, okay, like me now, for me, I know how much I spend every month on average in my family. I know how much you spend every month on average. So you should have an idea. You should know, do you spend less than 100,000? Do you spend more than 100,000? Do you spend more than 200,000? You should know that somebody can wake you up. How much do you spend every month on average? And you should be able to give a figure. If you cannot give a figure, then you are not doing something right. You should be able to give a figure, because when you're able to give a figure, it shows that you are planning for your finances. You know how much, you know, you can account for your inflows. How you spend money, you can account for it. It's when you cannot account for it that you don't know. Money just comes, money just go. And that's a bad way to live financially. So you should be able to account for that. I don't know if you are learning something tonight. So for your recurring expenses, find out how much it is on an average. Then the amount that you've already written down for your recurring expense, does your income at least matches it? The very best is that it should match it. If your recurring expense is 80,000, for example, at least in a month, do you make 80,000 now? If your recurring expense is 150,000, in a month, at least do you make 150,000? So that's something you should look out for. So if your income is more than your recurring expense, that's when you now start having a form of financial stability, in the sense that what you make, you spend less than what you make. So you are living below your means. So what you make can confidently can cater for your expenses conveniently without having any challenge. You can save money for your rent conveniently. You can pay for your feeding conveniently. You can pay for your data subscription, for internet, for anything, transportation. You can do that conveniently, and you can have something to save as your savings. So this is something you should do. What is your recurring expense like? How much is it? Can your income at least match it? Barest minimum, you should be able to match it. Then if your income is more than that, then that's good for you. So if, for example, your recurring expense is 150,000 in a month and you are making 200,000 in a month, that's a good level of stability. At least you can save 50,000 there. Or if it is more than that, you can save that. So that's something that is very, very important. Now, once you've been able to track your expenses, you know what your recurring expenses are, you know what your non-recurring expenses are, you have an idea of how much you spend every month, then it's now time to start focusing on your income. So you already know what your, I'm saying liability too much. I don't want to be, because I don't want to be too much accounting type, but you know what your liabilities are, what you would spend money on. Then the next thing is to think of how can I scale up my income to beat my expenses. Remember I said that at the beginning is that at least it should match it, but your goal should not be that it should match it. Your goal should be that my income must always surpass my recurring expense. So you can write it down. My income must always surpass my recurring expense. So that should be like a wake-up call, like a charge for you. My income must always exceed my recurring expense. Why? Because one, price of things go up in Nigeria. You might spend maybe 30,000 on food last month. This month, inflation has already happened, or things are more expensive. You are spending 50,000. With that, your expenses are going up. So when your income is higher than your expense, it gives you a bit of buffer. But if it is just on the same line, if your recurring expense is 150,000 and your income is 150,000, what happens when next month your recurring expense is now 170,000? You see that you are now short of 20,000 now. But when you ensure that no matter what my expenses are, my income should be higher. My income should be higher. With that, no matter what the maybe inflation or things that are becoming more expensive, it gives you a buffer. It gives you a buffer. It gives you an edge. Now, what do you do to ensure that you have enough income to match, to surpass your expense? So now I'm not talking about matching your expense now. That was the initial stage. Now we are taking it a bit higher. What do I do to ensure that my income would always surpass my expense? Now there are 6 income blueprints you should have. as a Nigerian, but this can also be universal. So whether you're in Nigeria, but just to localize our content, since we are all living in Nigeria. So as a Nigerian, 6 income blueprints you should have. So it means at least you should have 6 ways you make money or you earn an income. So it's a 6 income blueprint. If you can earn income from these 6 different ways, you are going to have a huge level of financial stability and even independence. Now, this 6 income blueprint, I'm not talking about maybe you should do affiliate marketing or you should start selling. No, I'm not even talking about what to sell or what to do. Think about how you should make the money. So irrespective of what you do, whether you're a salary earner, you do crypto, you are into online business, digital marketing, freelancing, job shipping, e-commerce, whatever you do to make money, if you are selling course, whatever you do, these are 6 ways you should earn income. You can write it down. The first one is daily income. So it's a 6 income blueprint. The first one is daily income. Daily income. What can you do to make money on a daily basis? So now, like I said, this is something. Okay, so this is just a chart. So I'm not going to tell you that you should do this to make money. No, I'm just going to open your eyes to show you what you need to do. Then it's now left for you to fill in the gaps. So I'm not going to say that no, you must do e-commerce for you to blow. No, there are so many people that are doing e-commerce and they're not making any money. So I'm not going to say that you should do a particular business or have a particular skill. No. What I'm doing is to show you the channels or the avenue in which you should make more money. Are we following? Are we following, please?
Yes, sir, we're following you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the first income blueprint is what? What did I say is the first income blueprint?
Daily income.
Daily income.
Yes, daily income. So you need to ask yourself, Favor, what can I do to make money on a daily basis? Aaron, what can I do that I would make money on a daily basis? Now, either on a single day, like back to back, or at least multiple days in a week. So it might not be that easy for you to make money every single day, but at least in a week, you make money like maybe 3 times a week, or 4 times a week, or 5 times a week. So think about it. What can I do to ensure that I make money on a daily basis? Now, there are so many things to do. Like I said, I'm not going to say that you should do this or should, because what works for A may not work for B. So you need to find out what would work for you or which channel you would use. But the idea is that how can I make money on a daily basis? But the rule of thumb, one of the easiest and the ideal, one of the easiest way to make money on a daily basis is to sell something. So as a salary earner, it's not practical or it's not possible for you to make money on a daily basis, except if you are living in America or London that they work per hour. And so with that, you can say, okay, I made so dollars or so pounds today. But for Nigeria, salary earners are being paid once a month, or in some cases, depending on the organization, in some cases they pay them twice a month. But basically, generally, salary earners are paid once a month. So with that, it's not practical for you to make money on a daily basis. So the only way to make money on a daily basis is to sell something. You can either sell your skill, that's where freelancing comes in. You sell your service, that's where maybe copywriting comes in. I'm a web designer, I'm a content creator, I offer this service. whatever it is, or you sell a product. And that's where e-commerce can come in. So there are 3 different things to sell. You can either sell your what did I say is the first one? What did I say is the first one?
Your skill.
You can either sell your skill. That's where freelancing comes in. Those on Upwork, Fiverr, and other channels. You can either sell your skill. You can sell your service. That's where copywriting comes in, web design. So in some cases, your skill can also be a service, so it can be intertwined. But you understand what I'm saying? You can either sell your skill, sell your service, or sell a product. That's where e-commerce comes in. So think about it. That's your assignments, or that's your what you should do. What can I do to make money on a daily basis? Now, the second income blueprint is weekly income. Weekly income. What can I do to make money on a weekly basis? So if it's not that easy or practical for you to make money on a daily basis, think about it. What can I do to ensure that I make money at least once in a week? At least once in a week, that this week will pass, I must have made an income. So daily income every single day, or maybe 3 times a week, or every other day, or weekly income. At least once in a week, you are making money from something. So daily income, weekly income, still the same thing. Either offer your service, offer your skills, or you sell a product. You think about it. Then the third one is monthly income. Monthly income. That's where salary comes in. That's where paid employment comes in. Monthly income. That's where that comes in, monthly income. Then quarterly income. Quarterly income is that you make money at least once in 3 months. At least once in 3 months. And this is where consultants come in, or those who have a coaching group or something. If you are people are signing up for your mentorship class or something. Mostly for those who do online business. So you can do a subscription-based service that, okay, people pay you every 3 months for your service, either to be part of your community or to be part of your mentorship or something, that every 3 months, people are paying you once in 3 months. You can see that that one is different from daily income, it's different from weekly income, it's different from monthly income. Now, after quarterly income, who can guess the next one? That is the 5th income blueprint. Who can guess? Can anyone guess?
Annual income.
No. That is yes, but that is not the next one. Who can guess? What is common after quarterly? After 3 months, what is the next common one?
Okay,
After 6
my
months,
hand
sir.
is up.
Sorry?
After 6 months.
Yes, favor 6 months. So 6 months, or biannual, which means once in 6 months, you make money. So it's still similar to the quarterly income. So the idea behind this is that depending on your flexibility or what works for you, you can choose. So for some, it might not be practical enough for them to make money on a daily basis, but they can make money on a weekly basis. So if it's not possible for 3 months quarterly income, you can do 6 months income. Like I said, there are different things to do. So how you now structure that to fit into this income blueprint, that's now where your real assignment comes in. And after 6 months income, like what Aaron suggested, is yearly income, annual income. What can you do that people can pay you once in a year? So a rule of thumb is that for the quarterly, 6 months, and yearly income, one of the best practically and the best thing that can be practiced, that is practicable in this, is subscription, membership subscription, mentorship. For those who read about some blogs or websites online, there are some websites that you want to read content and they will tell you that you should pay for subscription. Have you been in that situation before? You want to read an article and they tell you that pay for subscription. Have anyone been in that situation before?
As well as I don't have any errors.
Yes, sir.
Has anyone been in that situation before, that you want to read an article from a particular website and they tell you that free something limited, pay for subscription?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
Yes, sir.
that is
Yes,
one
sir.
of the ways they make money. And if you notice, when you click on the pay for subscription something, you will see different options, either monthly or annually. So it's the same idea these people are practicing. So they would give you option. You either pay monthly or you pay annually. So there are some that will be paying monthly, while there are some that will be paying annually. So with that, those organizations are making money from different sources. Some money are coming monthly, while some money are coming annually. It's the same blueprint, it's the same idea. So if you can practice these 6 income blueprints, it's going to give you big leverage. There's still other ways to dissect this further, but to go beyond the scope of this session, to make it more detailed and to give you more options on how to structure your services or your product or something that can fit into that. So that's more like a personalized session you get. So these are the 6 income blueprints. Who can mention them again? The first one is what?
Daily income.
Huh?
Daily income.
Daily
First
income.
one,
What's the next one?
weekly income,
Weekly income. What's the third one?
and monthly income,
Monthly income. What's the
quarterly,
fourth one?
quarterly income,
Quarterly.
and by annual income, that's 6 months. Then annual income, that's 1 year.
Good. Good. So your job now is to find out, to sit down, what can you do to get money from these different channels? Remember, I did not talk about what you should do. I did not say you should do this business or do this. I only gave insight that for some income sources, it's more practical to do this. For example, in the daily income, it's not possible for you to earn that through salary. Even annual income, it's not possible that it's only once in a year that we pay a salary. Okay. So there are some that, so for the monthly income, the most practical way that can be done is through salary, or the easiest that can be done through salary. So apart from that monthly income, every other income sources, it must be through sales, you selling something, either your skills, your products, or services. I believe most of you here, if not all, you have a particular skill that you do, or you have a particular business, or you have particular service that you can render. So see how to structure it within this. That for what you are knowledgeable, how can you make money from it on a daily basis? If that is not practical for you, how can you make money from it on a weekly basis? And for those who are not salary earners, how can you make it that on a monthly basis? So it depends on, yes, that big flexibility. So you notice that if you are consistent with this and you build it, you scale it up, it will be able to cover for your expenses so easily that you are not even going to even feel it. You are not going to even feel it. And that's what I said I was going to teach, or I'm going to show you today on financial intelligence. How to structure your expenses into recurring expenses, non-recurring expenses, and how to structure your income to beat your expense. Like I said, the goal is not that your income should match your expense, because your expenses cannot be fully controlled. No matter how well you try to cut things down, the reality of life is that things would definitely go up one or the other. So it's your income that you should see how to, it should always surpass your expenses. It should always surpass your expenses. That is going to give you so much leverage, so much confidence, and to help you to plan your finances properly. Once you are able to do this and get much confidence in this, then it's easier for you to save, easier for you to invest in whatever investment vehicle you want to consider. Do you have any question? Do you have any
Thank
question?
you very much, sir. So, guys, it's time for questions. So if you have any question, you can unmute. Just raise your hand so that it's not scattered. Yes, let's do it orderly, in an orderly manner. So raise your hand and I will call you. I'm waiting for you guys.
Or nobody has question?
Do you want to say you understand everything that has been shared tonight? Questions,
Okay,
questions.
Aaron.
Okay, Aaron.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening. Your class is very, very detailed and understandable. So for now, I don't have any questions, and I think that's why most people are not raising up their hands. So maybe we should just continue with the class, and maybe at the end of it, we'll have questions. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So this so I've come to the end of the session. So that's why I asked for questions, because those are the two major things I said I was going to teach or going to show you on financial intelligence: how to structure your expenses to ensure that you are able to account for what you spend money on, and how to structure your income to ensure that you have more ways to earn money to be able to surpass your expense. So, and I believe if you are able to match these two together, it would give you so much confidence to plan your finances better, to plan your finances better. So I don't know if anyone has any question. Do you have any question? And if you say you understand everything, it's all good. But I hope and I believe someone would have a question. Yeah, that one also. Okay, Aaron.
Okay,
Back to you.
Aaron.
Okay, so my apologies. I never knew that the class was coming to an end already. I was thinking it was going to come to an end by 10 o'clock. So what I wanted to ask at the end of this class was that reading your book, in the first, your book captured me from the first introduction. That's the beginning. When you said, when you received an alert of some certain amount of money, and then this is how you spend and your expenses, how you started saving in percentage and not in amount. So from the 6 blueprints you've given to us this evening, when you were talking about the annual income, you didn't really give us like practical experiences from you, because I love what captured me in your book more was your examples. They were spot on, the practical. I could relate with it. When there was a point you said, as a freelancer or as a online manager, you're working for somebody. There are times your salary can be 100,000. You made an example with 100K. It can also grow to 200K. And as you keep making that example, you keep telling us that, okay, if you're saving in a percentage and you're collecting 100K as a salary, your percentage, savings percentage, which is 20% you use in your book, was supposed to be, that's 20,000, if I'm correct. Yes, 20,000 there. So it keep increasing, your savings keep increasing. So I love practical examples like that. You give us a practical example in your first blueprint, as a daily income. You said we could sell a skill, render a service or sell a product. And I already started putting like some service down. For instance, I wrote a POS business here for daily income. So for incomes like annual and biannual, I wrote some things like real estate, automobile. But my question now is, can you give us a practical example of how, maybe, I don't know what level you are now. It could be quarterly income, biannual income, or even you do all the 6 of them. I don't know if there's any way you could, drop some inspiration in us practically of how you were able to transcend these levels of blueprints. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you for the question, Aaron. So thank you very much. Okay, so I would I actually do this. So it's not something that I read somewhere. So it's not that maybe I read it from one book or so. I've never seen it. I don't know if it exists, if there's a principle. Even the 6 income blueprint, I just gave it that name. So it might I don't know if the principle is existing elsewhere. I just gave it that name out. But I believe the principle is existing elsewhere already, because, for example, with the website, something that I told you of, people practice it, that they make money monthly, annually. So it's something that is based on from what I do, that I came up with that formula. So I make money from all those channels: daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, 6 months, annually. I make money from all those. And I'm going to show you, like everyone said, practical. So I'm going to show you practical ways in which I do it. So now, like I said earlier on, remember I did not say you should do so many things. All these 6 income blueprints, I make it from just one channel. So it's not that you must do 7 different things for you to know. It can just be one thing that you are doing, and it has expressions in multiple channels. So I have a 9 to 5. So I make money on a monthly basis. But I also have a skill. I teach on stock markets, on investments and finance. So I have a course, Be the Stock Market Boss. So it's a monthly course. So it happens every month. So I make money through that course daily and weekly. So daily and weekly, in the sense that practically it may not be every day that somebody will buy. So multiple persons can buy in a day and everything, but a week will not pass that I don't make multiple sales. So it come daily and it also come weekly. So with that, I'm making money daily from that same skill. People are buying the course daily. They are paying me for it. If I aggregate everything in a week, daily equals weekly indirectly. Because if you make money 3 times or 4 times in a week, or even 5 times, that's already weekly. So daily and weekly can be synchronized together depending on how you look at it. So I make money daily, I make money weekly. Then at the end of the day, in a month, I make for my salary. Then in terms of 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. So after I'm giving a secret. Nicholas Grace has already covered the people. So let me share a bit of my secrets. Nicholas Grace has covered it. So after the stock markets class, I have a mentorship community that people subscribe for. So after the class, I introduce them to a mentorship. So that mentorship is not compulsory, it's totally optional, but I try to ensure that some persons subscribe for it. Now, the mentorship community, you can say I see from that same skill. So it's not that I'm selling another thing. I'm not selling a mentorship in another. It's still from that stock market class, but giving some persons the opportunity for that close mentorship guidance. So that mentorship subscription fee, it's done 6 months or 1 year. So you can either subscribe for 6 months and subscribe for 1 year. So with that, my daily income has been ticked, weekly has been ticked, monthly has been ticked because of my salary, 6 months is being ticked, 1 year is being ticked. So some persons would subscribe for 6 months mentorship, some will subscribe for 1 year. So after 1 year, they renew. After 6 months, they renew. Now, where the quarterly comes in, because it's still synchronized, because it's a monthly class. So some persons might subscribe this month, others will subscribe next month. Maybe after next month's class, some will subscribe. So indirectly, every month, somebody is subscribing for the mentorship. So every month, somebody is subscribing for the mentorship. So at the end of 3 months, one or the other, somebody has already subscribed. So you can say it's still the same thing, but it has different expressions. So money is coming in daily, money is coming in weekly, money is coming in monthly for my salary. So in a way, I'm just making money from 2 channels, for my salary and from my skill. So from my salary is just 1 monthly, that's been ticked off. But from the skill, daily, weekly, then quarterly subscription, mentorship community, 6 months mentorship community, 1 year mentorship community. And because the class holds every month, so one way or the other, at least one person will subscribe to the mentorship every month. And once that is consistent, by the time they are to renew, money is coming in, money is coming in. So with that, just from one skill, I've been able to create 5 channels. I make money from just one skill. So just one skill, I make money from 5 different channels from just that same thing, while the monthly is salary. So just 2 ways to make money and intervene. So I believe that is practical enough. Any other question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nathaniel. Thank you so much for giving us your secrets. Yes, I'm also learning here. Yeah, thank you so much for that. And if you have questions, you guys should ask go. Because when we read your book in the group, people were saying they needed to, they needed to ask you some questions. And I don't know why they are keeping quiet now. Probably you've answered their questions while teaching us tonight. I don't know. So this is 8:09. If there are no other questions, because I can't see any in the chat box here, and nobody's raising their hands. So I want to believe you all understand what okay, Mohammed. Thank you. You can unmute and ask your questions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. It's kind of education and it's impacting actually, because looking from the different perspective, this session is actually touching personal and financial aspect of it. But sir, what I wanted to ask is just now that she mentioned the issue of the book that just came to my mind immediately, because what you've been saying, they're so explanatory in nature. So I don't think much of many mentee will have a lot of problem with the session. But what I want to ask exactly is when you were explaining about the income, the accounts, yes, when you're comparing the personal account and the business, the income, yeah, the personal income and the business income, then you were trying like to explain about having different set of banks. So it came to my mind that okay, if probably the way you just mentioned all these blueprints, and then as a student one doesn't have much to actually do and have more income. So how is it feasible to have these 5 accounts you illustrated in the book, and then how effective could it be that someone that is earning so low, and even it's the earning is almost on probabilities. So how is it feasible with the dimension you gave while explaining the issue of the income account, the savings, giving, emergency, and all? So thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. So that book also, amazing book. So I wrote it based on what I practiced. I practiced also. So it's not that I read it from some. So those books that it's like I say, it's a practical book. So I just documented my experience of what I do in that book. So yes, personally, I have multiple accounts for different reasons. I have an account that is majorly for my income, where my salary comes in, and uh, so the bank account where my salary comes in is not the same bank account where I get money from my books and courses. So it's different. I have an account for dedicated for feeding. So my budget for feeding for the month, I remove that money, put in a particular account. I have an account for my transportation or other household expenses. So I have multiple accounts for multiple reasons. So that book was written for, like I said, different demographic of people. So there are some persons that will read it and they would find where their state is or their situation, while some will read it. So the idea of that book is like a progression, is to show you where you should be. So wherever you are, whether, okay, I say you should have 5 bank accounts for 5 different things, and you feel that okay, where you are currently, you have only one means. So that should challenge you to start thinking, what can I do to ensure that I have this? And that's why at the beginning of this session, I said this whole session is to challenge you that okay, what can I do to ensure I make money from this channel? What can I do to ensure I make multiple money from this channel? So for that different bank account, you should. So if at this stage maybe okay, you are not buoyant enough to have multiple accounts to start saving, so that should challenge you that okay, this is where I want to be. I want to be. I want my financial life or my finance to be in a state that yes, I can conveniently allocate X amount of money for this particular reason. So then you should not start thinking, okay, what do I need to do to ensure I have more money to allocate for this reason? And that's where today's session comes in. So today's session is just, it's more like a compliment. It's more like compliments what you've read in the book. So if wherever you are, and whether to Mohammed or to others, wherever you are in your finances, if you feel that okay, you are not yet at this level, that's why I've shown you the income blueprint. There is something you can do to make money. There's something you can do. So when you now, as you are progressing in your finances, the finances is progressing, then you can conveniently allocate. So it doesn't mean you should, that's where you should be for a start. So for example, now, if I say that, okay, when I'm driving, I drive through Third Mainland Bridge, I drive from Lagos to Ibadan, I drive from Lagos to Benin. Somebody that is just learning how to drive, obviously the person cannot be going to Third Mainland Bridge immediately. The person will just die because we'll most likely have an accident. You are just learning how to drive, or you just started driving. You cannot say you want to start going to Ibadan from Lagos or going to Benin from Lagos. It's a gradual progression. So you are first comfortable with driving, comfortable from your streets to church to market gradually. Then you now progress to the highway. You are more convenient in the highway. Then you progress to expressway. From that, now start driving in interstate. So you should not expect that you just started learning how to drive today. I want to start going to Abuja driving. You just kill yourself because you have accidents. That is given. So if wherever you are in your finances, that book is more like a guide to show you where you should be and even surpass it. So I hope that answers the question, Mohammed.
Clearly, sir.
So
Thank you so much, sir.
yeah. So I believe
Wow.
there's no other question.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Nathaniel. Thank you so much for tonight. Sincerely speaking, you always blow my mind anytime you come to GMP to teach us on financial intelligence, because you come every year with different, like with different dimensions, you come up, you teach us different things, and I personally learn different things every time you come to teach us. So On behalf of NICOP, we say thank you so much for taking time to come here this year again. We are so grateful. We are so grateful. Thank you so much. And I think we have come to the end of today's session. Yes. So I would advise you that you guys listen to the recording when we send the link to the group, because this is not something that you can just listen to once and then you forget about it. No, you have to listen to it again and again so that you can sync and then you can practice. So the essence of these sessions is not just for you to attend and listen. It's for you